Folks, this is a surreal idea ripped straight from thriller novels. Joe Biden going on the record predicting Donald Trump will try to steal the 2020 election. Watch.
It's my greatest concern, my single greatest concern. This president's going to try to steal this election. This is a guy who said that all mail-in ballots are fraudulent, voting by mail, while he sits behind the desk in the Oval Office and writes his mail-in ballot to vote in the primary.
So in a moment, I'm going to talk to a friend of the beat and Art of the Deal co-author Tony Schwartz. But first, Biden's remarks come amid outrage over absurdly long voting lines in Georgia. And critics point to the Trump administration's sustained attack on democratic norms in this country, from claiming there were up to 5 million illegal votes in 2016. That was not true. That was false. To asking for dirt on Joe Biden from the Ukrainian government, to Trump's son-in-law at one point declining to rule out delaying the 2020 election if they needed to. Now, the other issue, if Trump loses, would he try to cling on to power any way possible? Here's Biden.
This is a strange question to ask an American politician. Have you ever considered what would happen if the election result came out as you being the winner and Trump refused to leave?
Yes, I have. And you have so many rank and file military personnel saying, whoa, we're not a military state. This is not who we are. I promise you, I'm absolutely convinced they will escort him from the White House with great dispatch.
Joining me now for our State of the Mind franchise, Tony Schwartz, co-author of Art of the Deal and CEO of the Energy Project. He's just published an article for Medium about the dangers of Trump during a time of crisis. Mr. Schwartz, it's great to have you with us. I have to say, I mean, just hearing that as somebody who has covered so many countries, authoritarian countries overseas, where the issue of peaceful transfer of power is distinctly and uniquely American, do you think Biden's warning about Trump trying to steal the election and the fact that he may not even leave office if he does lose are justified?
100%. He is, as I've written on Medium, he is a psychopath, meaning he is missing the two ingredients that are critical and common for human beings. Number one, conscience, and number two, empathy. So he lacks both of these qualities, and therefore anything goes for Trump. And think about this. The minute he leaves office, his life, for all practical purposes, from his perspective, is over. Because at a minimum, he loses the vast percentage of his power and his ability to dominate. And believe me, he's gotten used to that, and giving it up is unthinkable.
I wanted to go back to that moment a little bit because I don't think a lot of us just understand what that moment would mean for this country if there isn't a peaceful transfer of power. And as Joe Biden, I think the alarming thing in that interview is he answered that question seriously. That was a serious question from Trevor Noah, and Joe Biden answered it seriously, that it would be the military who would perhaps have to act and dispatch him from that office.
Well, I think that's what it will come down to. And then the question is, on whose side does the military stand? Does it stand on the side of democracy, or does it stand on the side of the commander-in-chief, even if those circumstances suggest he should no longer be the commander-in-chief? And I'm not in any way confident in what that outcome will be, but I have no doubt that Trump is going to do everything he possibly can, exactly as Biden says, to try to steal this election.
Let me play for you President Trump's recording talking to governors about the unrest in this country, where he says to them they have to dominate protests and, in fact, put them in jail for up to 10 years. Take a listen to this.
You have to dominate. If you don't dominate, you're wasting your time. They're going to run over you. You're going to look like a punching jerk. You have to dominate. And most of you are weak. And we're going to slam down very, very strong. But you have to arrest people, you have to track people, you have to put them in jail for 10 years, and you'll never see this stuff again.
What do you think that reveals about how the president views a protest in this country and people's basic liberties. What do you think that reveals about his mindset?
I was fascinated that he used the word dominance or dominate 4 or 5 different times that day, because that morning was the morning that I published my Medium article. And the core point I was making is that we've misunderstood Donald Trump as someone who is motivated by his narcissism, meaning by his desire to be loved, when in fact, true as that is, what deeply, deeply motivates Donald Trump is the need and desire to dominate. He sees the world entirely in terms of win-lose, right-wrong, and pardon this, black-white. And the idea that he would not dominate is precisely what he is trying desperately now to avoid. Now, I will also say this, Eamon. He's going to lose. I believe that now. Now, of course, who knows? Anything could happen. But I think the worm has turned. I think the cat is out of the bag. And I think that the middle part of the electorate that is deciding which candidate they're going to vote for is moving inexorably in the direction of Biden. And I believe that will be the case for the Senate as well.